Welcome back to Safas Unscripted, episode 146. Guys, we have done the ultimate sin. We have not posted. We missed the episode. We missed one on Friday. Do we really feel that bad about it? Probably not. Life got in the way. Sometimes that happens. We try and push 3 episodes a week. Sometimes you'll only get 2. But we are back. It's Monday. We are back on the grind. South Africa playing this weekend, so we'll chat about that later in the weekend. But first and foremost, before we get into what's happened, Brett, Brevan, how are we doing? Brett, you're wearing a black jersey with the English flag on it. Explain this.
Yeah, I thought it was just a little bit funny, bit of irony, because it's a black English jersey. So
who are you supporting?
I wasn't supporting anyone. I think maybe I leant a bit towards New Zealand because they're Southern Hemisphere side, but I was very neutral in that game.
Rugby's the winner.
Rugby's the winner. R-U-P-P-Y, rappy.
I know Brevan hates that saying. That's why I brought it up. Brevan, my man, exam time for you. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Luckily, it's been a tiny bit of a week, or weekend, shall I say, away from the books, because it's been a busy one. I mean, on Friday, me and Brett played for his Predator side. And then next day, had my end of year awards for rugby, where I was basically watching the England game, New Zealand game on like this little TV in the corner. So thank goodness they had that on at least. And then today, finally back, like you said, for me. And folks, I mean, how do England keep bottling it to New Zealand at the depth?
And it's not even just New Zealand. It's not even just New Zealand, right? Like, I heard something like in the last 12 months, they have lost about 7 games within a score, which is crazy to me. Like, if you think about it, they lost to France within a score. They lost to, was it against Scotland within a score? 3 times to New Zealand within a score, to us in the World Cup. Bro, it is absolutely crazy. But let's go into the game, right? We've got a lot of things to talk about. Okay, we're not just going to talk about this game. Let's get into the game. How good is Wallace Atiti? How good is that guy?
Yeah, probably going to become the next offload king of World Rugby. Obviously strong and fast, but then he breaks the tackle and then offloads. He reminds me of a better Sonny Bill Williams.
They've got 2 Ari Savayas. That's how I feel at the moment. It is legit scary how good this guy is and the potential that he has. How old is he? Like 21, 22?
No clue. Tell us there.
I don't know. Let me Google it. Brevan, what was your thoughts on the game overall?
Look, I can't give a very detailed explanation because, like I said, it was quite difficult to kind of understand what was going on while I was watching and trying to juggle the awards and whatever. But yeah, I think from what I noticed, just both flankers on each side were obviously Satiti and then Cunning himself. I think both flanks were just phenomenal. I think Cunning himself has been extremely good for England lately.
Both of them 22 years old.
Dude, that is some talent, man. But yeah, and also Satiti's just like coming out of obviously like our own Cameron Hanekom type of thing, coming in through that setup, and they're giving him the opportunity. And I think that's what the All Blacks need at the moment, because yet again, you still look at the mighty name of the All Blacks and there might be a bit of fear that strikes you, but now you start to look and you think, okay, they did pull through, but they aren't looking the same. They lost both to South Africa. I mean, that hasn't happened in a long time. So you start to think, this can't be the New Zealand we know. And, they don't give you that same, and it's no disrespect. We were like this at a stage, where you just think, these guys don't fear you or you don't fear them like you used to, essentially.
It's tough, right? Because when we spoke about England, we can all admit that they weren't great before the World Cup, right? They weren't great at all until they came to that semi-final, and everything kind of just played to their part. Then after the World Cup, they go into the Six Nations. They struggle with their first couple of games, but then they really click into gear, and they arguably should have beat. They did beat Ireland. They should have beat France as well. They put in 2 great performances there. They go to New Zealand. People would most likely say they were the better teams the better team in both those games, and then they get beat now at home, where people might also say they were the better team. At some point, you have to give it to the All Blacks, where they say, "Okay, well, we beat a decent English team, you know." Like, you can't say 3 games in a row England were the better team. They didn't get a single result. They got beat at home and away. Both teams.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to say, well, New Zealand were just the better team. They have their number. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, because for me, it all started, obviously, with Joe Marler talking nonsense on social media. Obviously, the fact that they pulled it out of proportion the way they did, they know Joe Marler is a jokester. He's always been a joker. He'll dive into the most absurd things to say on social media, and everyone will know he's joking. But now he comes and says this about the haka, and the world goes up in arms. The first thing I did when I read it, it was like, oh crap, and then I saw who it was, and then it was funny because it's Joe Marler. But where it got interesting for me was when the English did not give the All Blacks a person to sing their national anthem. Like, they were
also noticed that.
Yeah, the first 20 seconds of the anthem, the All Blacks players didn't even know it was happening. And then they saw a few guys in the crowd, and they heard the jingle, and then they're like, oh, okay, let's try and sing. But then England gets one, but the worst for me was, I don't care who you are, you don't laugh right after the haka or at the haka. I mean, I think the All Blacks saw Jamie George laugh like that, and they thought, okay, cool.
You have to get a split screen of his laughter after the haka and him after the game, after George Ford actually missed the kick, right? Because that was on the big screen in front of everyone. But I think the haka really set the tone for the game. I know it wasn't your cleanest game, right? There was good amount of errors, but I thought it was a great watch. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the game. It was one of those games where it's there's a lot of things that went wrong or handling errors, but it just felt like a vibe. The atmosphere felt like it was there. Everything just felt amazing. Did you get that vibe, Brett, or were you nah?
Let Brevin go. I just spoke.
Yeah, look, I think I'm glad that, obviously, I'm sure there will be fines, which is whatever, to pay for what the English did during the haka. But ultimately, we want that in sport, right? We obviously, look.
It's great. That was great.
There's a fine line, and I'm glad the All Blacks responded the way they did, right? They didn't just. They were also okay, you want to come forward, we'll come forward too. There's no problem here. So I'm glad that there was that mutual. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen. Obviously, look, it's rugby union, rugby league, whatever, cool. But I don't know if you remember, it was recently. I think it was the English rugby league side versus the Samoan rugby league side, and they actually in rugby league they allowed them to still come face to face, and it was these guys get in each other's faces and put heads on each other's foreheads, and it's obviously that might be a bit excessive, but what I'm trying to say is I'm just glad that there's that sense of the challenge has been accepted type of thing, and
exactly.
The English aren't doing it to be disrespectful. They're doing it because let's make this a spicy test match. That's all it's about. And like you said, Joe Marler is not trying to take the mickey out of the haka. Essentially, we know it's Joe Marler, and we know what he's about. I mean, the guy's literally dyed his hair green and cut it into a mohawk. This is
and he also tweeted, he's I don't have a problem with the haka, but don't sanction us for having a response on it, right? And I think the New Zealanders like the response of it as well. I love the haka. I think it should be part of the game. I like it. But I also think a response should be allowed. I love the response because New Zealand talk about it is laying down a challenge. What's more accepting the challenge than actually moving forward and responding to the haka, which is the challenge being laid? That's why I absolutely love it. I don't get why people want to bin it. I don't get why you're getting sanctioned if you respond to it. Like, there's a difference between like that and spitting towards them or whatever, right? But just like stepping forward or that V being made just to like kind of throw it off. And you saw the atmosphere going boom when New Zealand also stepped forward, as Brett mentioned. I thought it was a great way to set the tone and set the atmosphere for this game specifically. Do we want to keep on talking about this one, or do we want to move on to the game actually?
No, it's
Yeah,
not
no,
the game.
I got one more thing to say. On the haka, I feel like sometimes the haka is overplayed. I feel like if they're gonna play against a team like America or Canada or Fiji or whatever, okay, not Fiji because that's actually their culture, but I feel like you don't always have to do the haka. I feel like in a game like this, yes, a tier 1 nation, but I don't like it when they, but then again, people actually pay money to go watch the haka. So it's just how
Just
I
think
feel
if they played in Namibia, for instance, the people of Namibia would.
But so the thing
wanna
is,
see
like
haka.
from my perspective as a player, right? I would personally love, even if, so let's say I played for a Chile or a USA, right? And the All Blacks played against me. Obviously, we're not on their level, but just the fact that they're doing the haka per se towards my team, it would be a privilege essentially, which is why I kind of think they also do that, because like those teams don't ever get to face New Zealand that often. So it's like maybe that's why. But ultimately, whether it should happen more or less, it should never be binned, in my opinion. Like, you know, it's a part of rugby history essentially, and I think people just need to calm down. You know.
Yeah, let's actually move on to the game itself, right? Or well, specific position. Brett, you are fly off, and I want to chat quickly about the fly off situation that we witnessed yesterday. I think Marcus Smith was having the game of his life. I thought it was absolutely sensational yesterday. And I've seen other podcasts and other creators and stuff talk about it before, where they're like, when does he finally get his full 80 minutes? He gets subbed yesterday at 65 minutes after running the game, running the show, in my opinion, with England in an 8-point lead. When he went off, George Ford comes on, vice captain, one of the five, right? One of the five captains. Misses the match-winning tackle. I know there's a couple of other guys as well, but he was the main guy that missed the tackle. Misses the match-winning penalty kick and misses the match-winning drop goal attempt. How would you feel if you're Marcus Smith and George Ford at this moment? You, Brett, as a fly-off. How would you feel?
Yeah, that was a very tricky one for me yesterday because when George Ford came on, at that time I thought, great call. Marcus did his job. Now George Ford's going to come steer them home because he's probably one of the calmest fly-offs in world rugby. And it's not even close. He has such a good temperament when it comes to clutch moments. And then that happens. So
his first action when he came on was this on TV. He's just telling everyone to calm down when he literally came on.
Yeah. So that's why I thought great call, Marcus Smith. Because sometimes when you're having such a good game, you can get in over your head and you can make a big blunder. Like now, you're super confident because you are playing so well against the All Blacks that you throw a backhand pass, Hail Mary, intercept, try, lose the game. Or you try and do a little chip kick over, charge down, try to lose the game. So it happens. And I think that was the thought process going into, okay, let's take Marcus Smith off because he's been cooking. Now his confidence might get ahead of him. So let's bring on a cool, calm, and collected guy like George Ford. Take us home, win the game for us. Yes, he should have made that tackle at the end. Yes, he should have made that penalty kick. But I'm not blaming him for the drop goal. I'm blaming the pass that he got to make the drop goal. That was a
horrendous one.
You can't expect a ball over your head and then try and kick a winning drop goal. It needed to be perfect. And that drop goal would have gone over, guaranteed. Then everyone would have forgotten about the missed tackle. Everyone would have forgotten about the missed penalty because other than those mistakes that he made, he was good. His passing was good. He steered the traffic very well. I didn't think that George Ford deserves the heat that he's getting.
It's a Monty Lubbock situation, right? From Argentina.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Breva?
Yeah, look, I think ultimately, like Brett said, it in my opinion, it was the right call. As if we would bring on Handré Pollard, it's the right call. And unfortunately, it just wasn't executed. That's all. I mean, it's just one of those things where a plan didn't go to plan, basically. And usually 9 times out of 10 it would. But yeah, like you said, hospital pass. I mean, can't really do much about that. It does kind of take. So obviously, usually as a fly-off, I'm sure when you're getting that ball coming to you, you don't want to have to worry about anything other than holding your hands here and then catching it and dropping and then going for the drop goal, of course. But obviously, the minute you have to start up here, you have to switch your attention to actually paying attention to catching the ball, and then you have to steer your attention to bring the ball down and doing the drop goal. So it does take away those few split seconds of focus. But yeah, look, I think I knew a lot of England fans that were really not looking forward to this game, in the sense that they were thinking that this was going to be a demolition job. And for some reason, obviously we didn't do that prediction video on Friday because obviously life is just crazy at the moment. But I was always thinking, I don't know what. Obviously, they've lost Felix Jones per se. They've lost a few other coaches, and Borthwick's brought some in that a few people aren't happy with. But I always thought they would hang in there, and that's exactly what they did. And then not only did they hang in there, they probably should have won that game. So, but unfortunately, you can't say
they're just not clinical enough at the moment.
Yes.
It looks good it looks good up until about 65 to 70 minutes, and we've seen this so many times now. They made the great comeback against France until about 70 minutes and then conceded the points again. They were great against South Africa in the World Cup until about 65 minutes and then threw it away. Both times against New Zealand, in New Zealand, like they have to start learning how to see out again. I mean, New Zealand didn't even get points in the Rugby Championship up until about they didn't get it after 60 minutes, like any points, if I'm not mistaken. They won the game in the last 20 now against England, right? So that is something that England desperately need to improve on. Now, just a finishing touch on this one before we actually move on to some other news. I think England's playing Australia next weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And then on Friday, it will be Ireland versus New Zealand. Just a quick thoughts on what we could possibly see for those two games, because we'll go into in depth on those one later in the week. Let's go New Zealand, Ireland first.
I think New Zealand are in big trouble. I'm sorry, I think they're in big trouble. I think Ireland. It depends. It depends how Ireland come out. As we know in the URC, a Friday night game is not ideal for any team that comes from the south. We know this, but yeah, if it's an Ireland that's clicking, I do worry.
But if it's a game that you feel like everything's to play for, New Zealand's going to pitch up for that one.
Absolutely.
World Cup quarterfinal, we know these guys when it matters and when there's rivalry and smack talking, they pitch up.
Yeah, I'm just remembering Johnny Sexton's book now, and I'm like, oh yeah, there is something added to this game. So yeah, I mean, obviously the Irish will be like, you took our semi-final spot. The New Zealanders will be saying, oh, I'm just Rico Ioane. Oh, I hope Rico Ioane has the game of his life. That would be fantastic, but possibly not at 13. But anyways, but yeah, it's gonna be spicy. I'll say that. But it all depends on who shows up, and it's just
listen. New Zealand are being written off at the moment, and that is a scary thought.
They've been written off all year, in my opinion.
They were written off in the World Cup. They lost to France, right, where they didn't play well. Look at the damage that they caused right after that. They were unstoppable. Brett, what's your thoughts on that Friday night special?
Yeah, I never in my entire life risked underestimating the All Blacks, because I've seen it too many times as a Springbok fan. I remember Jose Gia and then Rico Gia, his brother. Like the amount of times that South Africa was leading in the 79th minute and those two brothers would just go score the winning try. Oh, just drives me insane. But also what makes me more confident for New Zealand is the fact that they had a yellow card and defending in their 22, and they still saw out the game to beat England at home. So obviously they know that the last however long, if they're in the game, they're gonna fight. No team's gonna fight as hard as them. But I feel like I do, however, think that Ireland might just have one up on them because of how clinical they are at home, and because it's not a World Cup quarterfinal, so there's no burden on their shoulders. So I think that
Has Leonard Brown's card been upgraded to a red? Have they? Because it should be, most likely.
No, why? They were both
very well. It was
this far from the ground. No.
Yeah.
I can't comment. I didn't see it. So yeah.
So much mitigation.
I wanted to be a red so bad so that I can see Billy Proctor. That is kind of just.
I get you, but if that's a red, then I'm quitting watching rugby.
Well, the exact same thing happened, right? Let's actually switch over. Let's actually switch over to Scotland, Fiji. We won't talk about it too long. Did you anyone one of you guys watch the game?
Right?
Yeah.
Did you see the exact same tackle happened? Not even a card, like pure head on head, and they just said, "Yeah, rugby collision penalty."
Welcome to the inconsistency of refereeing.
Yeah, but that's what should have happened in the All Black game. For me, that was a rugby incident, because both of them were this far from the ground, and I forget who the English player was, changed direction. It would have been a great tackle coming from the side, but he turned his head into him. I didn't even think that was a penalty, let alone a yellow card.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because then you put it up for then the opinion starts to be subjective, right? Because now you have to ask them to use their own judgment to say whether it was malicious, whether you could have done better or whatever, instead of a rugby collision. That's always the tough thing when it comes to it. But anyway, we won't speak about refs now. Do you think Scotland will be confident after yesterday's performance going up against the Boks next weekend?
No, they can't be. They
were not that great.
They weren't that good. Fiji was dog shit.
That was a B team, Fiji.
Besides that was horrible rugby. Like, it looked like a bunch of amateurs. I promise you. That intercept pass from that intercept try from Hugh Jones, I could see it a mile away. Don't tell me that a professional fly-off couldn't see that coming. Like, that was shocking from Fiji. Like, and I must say, Darcy Graham's second try, brilliant. But that's it. That is it. Nothing for me was spectacular about anything in that game. It was Fiji being shit, Scotland playing normal rugby.
Brevin, did you manage to get some eyes on the game?
Yeah, I didn't catch, obviously the whole game at once, but obviously I did get glimpses here and there, and I just got the feel for the game. And also, so apparently, I don't know if this is true, because I haven't actually gone and done further research on it, but apparently Fiji now, at the moment, can no longer select from European sides. They can only select from their Super Rugby team.
Yeah.
So that is...
What?
I'm dead serious.
From the Fijian Drua team?
Yes, that's where they can select from.
Yeah, the commentator said that because they got a massive cash injection from Fiji Airways to keep the players there. That's why Semi Radradra didn't play. Most of them didn't play. What's that guy? Umaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. I just thought they selected a weak team because their clubs didn't release their players, because that's a big thing, right? That's why Blakey Horn and that fraudster Finn Russell. That's why he didn't play because their clubs kept them there because obviously they're not playing for the Scottish teams. That is crazy. So
unpopular opinion. Hastings is better than Finn Russell.
I agree.
He's a cut out 10. Like he's
That's
got it all.
Brett, I've been calling this for the longest time, right? I don't think Finn Russell is bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's bad, but I've never seen him have a good game. Like never. I've seen it once. Sorry, but it was like a good half when Dan Biggar got injured for the British and Irish Lions and he came on and he made a difference against South Africa. That's when, like in the COVID time. Other than that, this guy, I've never seen him have a good game. I'm sorry. Maybe I just don't watch enough of him. But it is what it is. We won't talk about them going up against South Africa. I just quickly wanted to bring that up. Let's talk about a Scotsman. News coming out this morning, right? Obviously, this is Sunday. The Stormers might actually make 2 signings. So we're going into rugby news.
3 signings.
3 signings. Okay, so someone that I'm missing. Duan van der Merwe, right? That's not happening. Okay, because I also saw an article that we have denied claims of that. And I don't want Duan van der Merwe, to be fair. So we don't need him. Kobus Reinach. Wow. Scintillating. And Brett, give us the news. Who's the third player that you've heard?
Mchunu from the Sharks.
Okay, yeah, but that's a bit older news. But yeah, love it. Now, I like all these backs that we bring in, obviously, except for Mchunu. Where's my other 10 forwards that I want? I want to see news articles about JC Pretorius.
No, I think there's better than JC Pretorius that the Stormers need. I do, however, feel that Duan van der Merwe I also read that it will have to come out of a third party's pocket to get him there because SA Rugby isn't going to pay. They're not going to pay for somebody that isn't allowed to play for South Africa.
You know, the one position that we don't need is a wing.
Is a wing, exactly.
We've got Hartzenberg, we've got Leland Zas, we've got Roanel that can play there, we've got Kortals Kusan, we've got Warwick Geland that can play there. Ben Louder is not even back yet. Please, calm down on the wings.
Bella Sinatla is coming back.
Yeah, okay. Ben Duan off, okay? Just, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, but regardless, like Brett said, if it's coming from third party, it's not worth it. Like, it's genuinely just not worth it.
You know,
we can get a third party to splash money on Duan van der Merwe. They can splash money on players that we actually need that are big names, if you really want to go down that route.
A third party tried to splash money when the Stormers were looking to get Cheslin Colby there. I sat in the office of the CEO's. Well, I sat in the CEO's office that was the one responsible for paying for Cheslin Colby. And yeah, it wasn't going to be DHL Stormers. Wasn't going to be Stormers money.
Yeah, fair enough. But why? Even the third parties, right? Like, why don't they invest and say, listen, okay, we clearly need more props, and say, okay, we'll splash some money and get some props in, for instance, right? Instead, because I want to do this with the flashy players, obviously, but we don't need a backline player. Like, I can't think of a single backline player that we actually need, unless it's some specialist outside center.
No.
But other than that, give me 10 forwards.
Now's chemistry in that team it's brilliant. Only guy, okay, actually, I'd like for a Hugh Jones to come back.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But
if they can give you Ethan Hooker, would you take it?
Yes. No, not now. Not now.
But the thing is depth, right? Because we only have now. Really. Hartzenberg can play there.
Ethan Hooker's not a 13.
Yeah, but he can play there. I'd take him at 12. Give me Ethan Hooker 12.
Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, I'm happy. I think that they definitely need to sign Kobus Reinach. Everyone in the world knows how I feel about Kobus Reinach. I think he's the best. But I do also feel like Mchunu will fit in like a glove at the Stormers.
Yeah. Brevin, what's your thoughts on it? All the signings.
Quibus is a great one if it can be made. Like, he suits that play style very well. Quick play, flair, being quicker on the rucks. I think he's the perfect man to take you forward going for. He is aging a bit, but I still think he has a good 3-4 years in him.
Yeah.
three, let's say. And,
But he would be a mentor for Imad Khan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I just think he will make a massive difference to certain things, and also in Tuna as well. Like I said, it's no disrespect to Brock Harris. The guy's a legend, and he's been there and done it. But he's been there and done it, and then came back, and then went back, and then So he's done his time, in my opinion, as a starting prop for the Stormers. And yeah, I think it's time to start bringing in a bit of like fresh players,
Yes.
fresh faces. You guys
not
have won.
just
Obviously, you've won the URC. You made the final the next year, and after that, it slowly started to gradually fall. And I think that's a sign that there needs to be some new faces, because every team, you can't stay the same and expect to win things. So, yeah, look, as much as Stormers are the rivals to the Bulls, I beg that all South African teams are as powerful and as strong as they can be, because it only benefits Springboks at the end of the day. And
Yeah. I think with the Stormers losing 2 scrum halves and getting a Reinach, that's just, it has to happen. It has to be a level player like Reinach, because Jantjies is going to Montpellier, De Wet is going to the Bulls.
But is he still going to the Bulls?
It's a 99% deal, so I can't see how the 1% is going to sway in the opposite direction.
Okay, and when do these deals take place? Like, when will they actually go and play?
His contract ends in June, end of the 2025 season. So June.
so
he'll
come in
still-
for the
I
New
want
York
them now.
season,
I want
essentially.
Mchunu now. Where's the transfer mid-season transfer window? Give me Mchunu now. Give me Kobus Reinach now. I don't want to care
Brock
about
Harris?
next season. Hey?
Brock Harris has almost got 450 first-class games
But this is what I'm saying. Like, great player.
for a prop.
I
It's
don't
insane.
care. I don't care. We have problems now. I want problems solved now. Give me some Griqua boys running out onto that field now.
It's the same. It's the same as me wanting you to not wear a beanie when it's 36 degrees in South Africa.
It's not 36, Brett. I told you it's like 18 here. And my hair was bad, so I whacked on a beanie, but the beanie didn't look okay with the shirt, so I whacked on a hoodie as well. So it was just like a double up. It is 17. It's not that ridiculous.
6:15. It is 31.
31 degrees. In the UK, this is a severe heat wave and people have to stay away. And it's already...
You're talking about my weather is a heat wave for them. The 17. That's what he's talking about. Not the 31. They've never seen it. Anyway, let's wrap up the episode. Do you want to talk about Joe Marler retiring? No? For the 4th time?
You did well. Comb your hair.
Just short of 100. I wish he could have got it, because he's such a character.
Imagine if Willie does the same.
99.
Willie sits down on a chair on 97 caps. And he's like, boys, I'm calling it a day. Could you imagine?
Yeah. So who was it? Was it Milt Muliaina that also got 99 caps with All Blacks?
I don't know.
Somebody got 99 and he was forced to retire.
Let me check. Bro, you physically can't retire on 99 caps. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't even just beg the coach, like, against.
Let me run on the final minute of a game.
Yeah, if I'm not even in your plans, just please, if we play against a weakened side, put me on the bench. Play at 24 even, I don't care. And just give me 1 minute. That's all I ask. I'll do drop off duty for your children on school the next day. It's fine. Like, yeah, please just do something.
I know. I don't think it was Mills. I think he did eventually get to 100, but somebody got to 99 tests as an All Black. I may be wrong. Maybe it's not even the All Blacks, but I remember something like that.
Miles Muliaina got on the dot 100 caps.
Then it was him. Then they gave him the extra cap. It must have been something like that. Like, just put me on the bench.
Okay. Like a charity little gift.
Yeah, because I remember he had to retire and he was on 99 caps.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay,
we'll wrap it up. Thank you
dark.
everyone for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe. I forgot to say that at the start. But anyway, thank you for all your love and support. As always, we do appreciate you guys. And we will see you back Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.